Hi, this is Don Hobbs. I'm here at the Small Business Festival, and it's very exciting what's been going on. We've had so many great speakers, great panels. In fact, there's one going on right now, but I grabbed a guy that was on stage that I was really impressed with. His name is Carey Jung, and he's the president of IT Freedom. And Carey, it was really awesome to hear your story. And actually, I got to tell you, there was a point where I think you got tears in your eyes, but I know I did. And so I want to talk about that. We're going to get there. But welcome, and thank you for everything you did at the festival.
Oh, you're welcome. I hope you don't want me to repeat that.
No, well, we might get there. Who knows? We'll see where it goes. I love the story, and I was sharing with you a little while ago that I could relate so much to the story that occurred. But you started back in 1989, or 1999 actually.
Right.
And in
Before the turn of the century.
Before the turn of the century, back in the 1800s.
Which back then meant a different century.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. Take us through the founding parts of this, and then your intention, of course. Tell us what you do, really. Give us some insight as to what you do.
IT Freedom is an IT services company. We essentially provide an outsourced IT department for small businesses. We're entirely Austin-based. All of our customers are Austin-based. We provide both remote desktop support, phone support, as well as on-site support. Help companies, for example, when they hire new employees, get them set up on their computers, administer their servers, provide their network security, all of that stuff.
Good. So primarily probably companies that are in those smaller stages where they haven't yet got their own IT department. They're outsourced, right?
Yeah, and we'll take companies as small as 10 users or so and stick with them until they're over 100 users, because we still provide value for them.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you went and began to grow the company, and where I kind of walked in on your stage presentation was you hit some hard times. We get to 2000 and probably, I don't know, 7 or 8, somewhere in that range, when the economic downturn hit, and it hit you. I know it hit me. So
it hit us really hard, but it was actually our own dang fault. Like a lot of, when you hit hard times frequently, it's because you shouldn't have been out on the water in the first place. And so we were in 2008, so we were like 9 years old, and we'd outgrown our office space and leased a much larger space than we actually needed. The rent was huge. We got a big construction loan to build out the space, which added to our expenses. We were doing great business-wise, so we thought we could handle it no problem, but we were stretched thin. And then our largest customer, which at the time represented 40% of our revenue, went away. They got bought out and took their IT services in-house. Mm-hmm. So we had these huge expenses and major loss of revenue, and it just all went downhill from there. And then on top of that, the recession hit, and all of our other customers started treading water, being real careful with their spending. So we just went through some really hard times, salary cuts. My wife, who's our CFO, and I both took a 50% pay cut for several years. Our staff took a 10% pay cut, and we just kept paddling through the whole thing and bailing water and paddling some more, and we got through it all. But it was a painful time.
Well, let's talk about I hate to bring up the painful time. Like I said, I can relate, because I had a company. We went through the same thing. We had to downsize. We had to, your tears and just a lot of unpleasant stuff. And the interesting part about this and your story, actually, where I think it's so important, is that so much of the time in seminars we hear the successes and we hear all about the great stuff, and nobody ever talks about the downtimes, and there always are downtimes. There's no business that's just straight up, right?
And that's how you learn. I think we're a much wiser company now. We're much more conservative fiscally. We make sure we have money in the bank, and we really try to preserve cash and be consistently profitable.
Did you get to that point where you felt invincible at one point in time? When you were rocking it?
Yeah, I think we were
cocky.
We were
invincible,
too cocky.
Yeah.
And we just made some bad, in retrospect, naive business decisions. Didn't really think it all the way through and really consider the risks.
Well, to that point, and I'm thinking about times now, we've been in a good run. We came out of a tough time. We're now in a good run. And yet, from a ups and downs standpoint in the trends, we look like we're heading into another one. And there's a lot of people that have forgotten, and we get into that place where we're spending and life is good and everything's great. And I'm like, first of all, if you're not doing well right now, then watch out, right? And if you're doing well right now, just be smart,
Yeah,
right?
we're
Be smart.
still trying to bankroll as much
There you go.
cash as we can, because you just never know what's going to happen. The story that I was trying to tell was really about our ownership culture and how we started off. I'd always wanted everybody to have a stake in the company, and we eventually got there. So we're now 15% employee owned, and are eventually going to be, by 2024, we hope to be 50%, 51% employee owned, and eventually 100% employee owned. And that's the best part for me. I just really proud of being able to accomplish that.
Yeah, it's awesome. So you've done it through an ESOP?
Yeah.
And you've turned it over, so in time, and it's an exit strategy for you. At the
Yeah,
same time, it's a great way to give back to the people who
Right.
Made it all happen, right?
Right. And it's all, the sale of the company from me to our employee trust is all being done through the profits that they generated. So
That's great. How did they respond? So there you are in front of the group, and you're giving them the good news.
It's kind of hard to say because they were speechless, but they were excited, because when I was done explaining what it meant, they were all cheering, applauding, and it was a special time.
I'm guessing you were too.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that time when you were deciding about this employee base. 'Cause I want to dig in. There are people in the viewership here that are figuring out, like, what does that mean? I mean, how do I do that, right? So a couple things that strike me. I want to say something, and I want to talk to you about what
Sure.
you did, because one of the things that I know is that very often we don't think about what the company looks like in the future. Almost everybody starts a company and you're like, I'm happy to even be alive, making some money, and we hire a second person, third person. You might start growing it that way. Rarely do we ever go, what I'm building is that, and that's where we're headed, and then start backing up into it, right? You then went down, and when you come back the second time around, in essence, you're back as a fresh company. You have more vision for it, and of course, it seems like that's where the vision for this employee-owned company was. Is that true, or you already had that vision?
I don't know if I've had any kind of brilliant vision per se.
Well, it's worked out for you, Carey.
What's happened, to be honest, is that I've hired people and promoted people that do everything I did so much better than I did, and they just gradually kept saying, "Get out of the way, let me do this," and I was happy to let them do that. And so now we're at the point where they're running the company, and it's amazing what they're doing. They're making changes that are going to be dramatic, I think, for the company. We're really focusing on our most profitable services. We're identifying where we need the key people and hiring them, and
That's great.
they've been together so long because they all grew up. Pretty much everybody started entry level on our help desk, and our leadership team has been with the company, and they've been with each other so long they know each other and work really well together.
That's cool. So it's like a family.
It is.
Is that the culture? I mean, is that part of the culture?
Yeah, and especially lately, I think for whatever reason, our staff is I don't know if they've gotten younger as we've hired people, but when you tend to hire a lot of entry-level people, and we promote from within, we very rarely hire higher level people.
Right.
And so we have a lot of people that are really young and energetic, and it's really fun to watch how they interact with each other. We've started using Slack at work. It's social media for work, and I just watch them, and it's just it's hilarious, actually. They'll be on the help desk channel solving problems on Slack, chatting with each other, and then every once in a while somebody will post something goofy on the random channel, and then they'll go off in this conversation for like 10 minutes. Just you're going like, okay, time to get back to work, you know. But they just, I don't say anything because, you know, you need to have a break every once in a while. And it really has made the whole team kind of gel.
Come together, yeah. That's excellent.
It's pretty cool.
The part of it that I think of in terms of what you just talked about is, you know, first of all, you've got some talent who has come in and really taken the role, taken the ownership. We talk in terms of always hiring talent, not employees. Like, we're not looking for job roles, we're looking for talent. Right. And actually, one of the things you probably have found, if it makes sense to you, talk about that. We talk about hiring empire builders, people who come in and say, get out of the way. So I'll take this thing, you know, give me the ball, coach, right?
Yeah.
And so it sounds like you've got several that have actually stepped into those roles as you were kind of describing the company. Talk a little bit about those people and what they did to get to that place.
Yeah, all of them. Jeff, our operations director, who I just promoted to CEO last year, he's I don't know how to describe him. He's like a savant. He's not into anything, you know, any kind of sexy products or services. He just wants us to be profitable and grow. And he just has that single-minded focus. And he's just this incredible operations person, you know, ideal person you'd want for you know, a left-hand man. And when you watch him work, you realize that you know, people tend to think of entrepreneurs as the brilliant idea types and the managers as the more, I don't know, less smart or something like that. But when you see somebody like that operate, you realize the brilliance that's involved in actually running a company. Mm-hmm. I mean, I had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun building the company, but I'm not a great manager. Jeff, on the other hand, is just an amazing manager. He does amazing things with his people, and he's largely responsible for really encouraging and developing, continuing to encourage and develop this ownership culture that we have.
That's cool. Well, I want to talk about a couple things real quickly as we kind of recap. First of all, thank you. What I loved, I walked in and late, and when I just saw how you were, I thought, how heartfelt is this man? And you can tell the impact you've had on the people, and you can also tell the impact they've given back to you. Meaning, the fact that you were giving the company over to them or selling the company to them was not a surprise. It was pretty cool. So congratulations on your success. I think what I heard too is that, you know, as you're building a company, we're all going to go through ups and downs, and it may be related to the economic cycles. It could be related to some industry cycle, or having a client walk away that's got 40% of your business, right? All those things are impactful. Right. And we've got to be in a position to be smart. And when, you know, like, learning business is a big deal, right? It's not complex, it's really pretty easy, and yet there's so many mistakes you can make. And what I appreciate with yours is that you learn from it and then can come back, and it's like you're putting yourself in a position to not have that happen again. So congratulations to you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We're very excited again to have Carey here. Thanks. And hey, we'll see you on the other side.